e good for body. No chemical at all, this na real banga. No more wahala or pandy washy. Just put on for fire and your food is done ready. Everybody follow me chop banga, eh, banga, eh. Oh, make you follow me chop banga cook don easy. Banga na palm fruit wey dem comot, put am inside can. You fit use banga cook any kind soup wey you like, and other food dem like rice, beans and even yam. Na Pali Agro Product Limited dem dey manufacture am. For distribution, make you call 070-666-38213. Banga for make your food yummy.
Belgium carbide smuggled into the country from Benin Republic. NDLEA arrests drug baron Chibike Apollos with 100 kg cocaine during an early morning raid. Former South African President Jacob Zuma's legal team quits less than a month before he goes on trial. World Bank says businesses in Nigeria lose about $29 billion annually as a result of unreliable electricity. Many thanks for joining us on News Now at this hour. My name is Margaret Opara. The chairman of Chams Plc, Sir Demola Aladekomo, has said the federal government can capture 230 million Nigerians and residents in the National Identification Database by 2024 if the right strategy is implemented. According to a statement, Aladekomo, who spoke on the sidelines of the University of Lagos MBA 1983 to 1984 class business session, he said bank verification number and independent National Electoral Commission's voter registration were executed seamlessly by local companies with good understanding and knowledge of our peculiarities. Aladekomo said these experiences, coupled with others, have put our tech companies in a far better position to handle the identification of 230 million Nigerians and residents by 2024 easily. He noted that the government could rule with the required data plan, well prioritized, and develop necessary infrastructures and systems for the people. Aladekomo, however, warned of dire consequences if the right steps are not taken now. Meanwhile, the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Ndudu Elumelu, has joined calls for the removal or resignation of the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami. This is concerning the minister's past controversial comments suggesting religious extremism. The lawmaker raised the issue as a point of order, citing the breach of his privilege. He said Pantami does not qualify to oversee the Ministries of Communication, which controls the database of Nigerians.
Hold DSS and National Assembly responsible. What of you as an individual? Over 180 million Nigerians. You were unable to. The announcement was made. The man was presented to the floor of the Senate. He was screened, and no individual out of over 180 million Nigerians was able to remember that comment made, to write petition to the National Assembly for them to act or not to act. So if National Assembly should be held responsible, or the DSS, the people of this country should equally be held responsible.
Mr. Speaker, my worry is that I'm a serving member of this chamber. And for the past few days, I've been inundated with calls from my constituents claiming that if it is right that this house that they've always seen talk about insecurity can sit on this floor and tolerate the fact that a serving minister, where there are allegations of him being a member of Al-Qaeda or Boko Haram, owned up and said that he did whatever he did because as at that time he was a youth, and he's still serving in this administration. Mr. Speaker, I feel that it would be out of place for me to sit here and allow this chamber not to speak about it and totally call for his resignation.
And now, protesting members of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria and Nigeria Bar Association on Thursday blocked the convoy of Osun State Deputy Governor Benedict Alabi. The members of the two unions had converged and started a peaceful protest for full implementation of financial autonomy of the judiciary at state courts, or KEFIA, and marched the customary court through the Federal High Court opposite Osun State House of Assembly along Osogbo-Bogan Road. At about 11:20 a.m., while members of the two unions were marching to the Osun State Government Secretariat, the convoy of the Deputy Governor ran into the midst of the protesters before the Secretariat. Rather than giving way, the protesters insisted that the convoy move behind them. The protesters used their placards and banners to block the convoy as the security details implored them to give way. However, the convoy later maneuvered its way from the protesters. In more stories, the Bayelsa State government said it would soon relaunch the state-owned security outfit codenamed Operation Duapo to complement the efforts of other security agencies in fighting crime in the state. The state governor, Lawrence Ehurujakpo, announced this during a meeting with traditional rulers from the Unigwa local government area of the government house in Unigwa on Tuesday. The security outfit, which was introduced by immediate past administration of Seriake Dixon in 2012, became largely ineffective before the end of his tenure in February 2020. Ehurujakpo, in a statement by Special Assistant on Media, Dobra Atasi, restated the need for traditional rulers to be vigilant and take charge of their securities in the domains. And also, the Oyo State Police had paraded two suspected armed robbers who confessed to be members of the Confanity group. Exhibits found in the possessions are guns and other harmful materials. Similarly, 28 hoodlums were arrested for looting of shops, stealing, causing mayhem at Makbo area of Ibadan. The Oyo State Commissioner of Police, Ngozi Onadigo, again affirmed that the police is keen in ensuring that all criminal activities are dealt with in a lawful approach.
The people that we raided during the Makbo and Idiaro, within that axis, we've been having a whole lot of issues from them. Every night, cults, rival cults fighting, they will loot shops and set the place ablaze. So we've, in continuation of trying to rid that place of miscreants and all these criminals, we've been engaging on aggressive intelligence gathering and then raiding of the area. So this is the 5th one we've done, and this one, 28 of them were arrested yesterday.
What happened is that, like 2018, some of the street bros that got me initiated just called me on Saturday to come. I should come, but ever since I got initiated, I've been avoiding them, trying to pave my way, because it's not part of my living. I'm an hairdresser, and I know how it is in the street. So on Saturday, he just called me that they want me to help him with something that I should please. It's been a while I've seen him, but when I went to Akobo on Saturday to meet him, I told you, I'm getting there, he gave me the bag, which later I opened and saw the content of the bag. And he said that someone probably will call me and pick it up at our job. So that was what happened before I got apprehended.
So it's my friend's junior brother. His senior brother is my own friend, called Emmanuel. Then he stopped me on the bike. Bros, wait. Then I could stop for him as junior brother of my friends now. Where are you going to? He said he's going to UI. Okay, I'll board you to Bodija. From Bodija, you board the bike to UI you are going to. That's just it. So at the end of the day, he was arrested and I was arrested. We are taken to police station at Testing Ground on Saturday. So they were asking me, how come? Then I said the same thing, this is my own bag. He can explain all these things on his own. It's just that I helped him. That is the reason why I involved in this conflict like this now. So that is just the issue.
You're not a courtesan anymore?
No, I can't deny it. Since 2002, I'm a courtesan in Ife. Before I came to Ibadan.
So you're a courtesan?
In Ife. 2002, before I came to Ibadan.
And now with more stories, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has splashed cash gift of 66 million naira on the state's medalists and coaches that represented the state at the just concluded National Sports Festival held in Edo State. The governor, while hosting the state contingent at the executive chamber of the governor's office, announced a cash gift and pledged that his administration will continue to provide the atmosphere for positive progress in the state.
Contingents distinguished themselves by coming 6th overall in 22 events with impressive all of 103 medals from 31 gold medals to 30 silver, 42 bronze to the state's name. I am also pleased to place on record that this feat is unprecedented, as Oyo State went to the festival with one of the least contingents as against states like Lagos, who had over 1,000 contingents and eventually still came 5th at the festival. It is also germane to the states that this inspiring and superlative performance put up by Oyo State contingents at the time of this administration is unrivaled in the history of Oyo State's attendance at the festival.
Well, when the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sport was making his remark, he said Lagos State went with over 1,000 contingent, came back with 1 gold medal more than us, that went with just 230. Well, I wanted to tell him to stop shading Lagos, but he already shaded them, so. Well, I want to say congratulations.
Meanwhile, the suspected notorious major supplier of illicit drugs in Abia State, GBK Apollos, was on Wednesday arrested during an early morning raid at his hideout at Mbausi in the Ishalangwa local government area of the state. The spokesman for the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Femi Babafemi, said in a statement that Apollos had been on the wanted list of the Abia State Command of the agency since February following the arrest of one Chima Ukelonu, the suspect behind the viral video in January showing a young man hawking illicit drugs on the street. The commander and the LEA Abia State Command, Bamidele Akingbade, said the command had been on his trial since February this year. Fortunately, he got a tip-off that he just received some quantities of cannabis from Edo State. Notwithstanding the tense security situation in the southeast, especially Abia State, the command embarked on the operation, which culminated in the arrest of one GBK Apollos with 10 bags of cannabis weighing 100 kg, 1.6 grams of cocaine, 1 gram of heroin, and 5 grams of methamphetamine. Meanwhile, as the rainy season approaches, AGA, a flood-prone community in Ogba, Egbemandole local government area of Rivers State, has expressed fears of being sacked by flood. This was happening as the joint investigation visit JV between Nigeria, AGIP, NAOC, and Egbema Voice of Freedom, EVF, on culvert projects to end flooding in the community ended in deadlock following disagreement by engineers of both parties in the visit. Speaking with newsmen, the leader of Egbema Voice of Freedom, Evaritus Nicholas, expressed worries that the development meant that the community would be flooded this year should AGIP not take proactive steps.
Is that project is completely a flop. It is not properly done. It is on camera that we were using hand to break part of the walls they built and piecing it on the camera. The project is a flop.
I mean, they have electoral lapses from the quality of job they did on ground, and I'm very much sure that there was no close monitoring to what they did. So we have pointed out issues of lack of embankment from the wing walls, quality of concrete, the strength of concrete they did.
We'll take a short break now. We'll be back for more stories. Please stay with us.
Fresh from the farm, e good for body. No chemical at all. This na real banga. No more wahala or pandy wash. Just put on for fire and your food is ready. Everybody follow me, chop banga. Hey, banga. Oh, make you follow me, chop away.
bangana palm fruit wey dem comot, put am inside can. You fit use banga cook any kind soup wey you like, and other food dem like rice, beans and even yam. Na Pali Agro Product Limited dem dey manufacture am. For distribution, make you call 070-666-38213. Banga, come make your food yummy.
Now on the Africa scene, former South African President Jacob Zuma's legal team has quit less than a month before he goes on trial on corruption charges. Zuma and French arms company are due in court in May 17 on charges related to a $2 billion arms deal from the 1990s when he served as deputy president. Zuma is being tried of 16 charges of racketeering, fraud, corruption and money laundering. He denied wrongdoings in the case. Thales has said he has no knowledge of any transgressions committed by its staff over the awarding of the contract. Meanwhile, in France, France's foreign minister on Thursday defended a military takeover in Chad despite objections from the opposition. They are saying it was necessary for security amid exceptional circumstances. The son of Chad's slain leader Idriss Deby took over as president and armed forces commander on Wednesday and dissolved the government and parliament as rebel forces threatened to march on the capital. Under the constitution, the Speaker of the National Assembly should have become interim president, but after the military had already shut down parliament, Honorable Haroun Kabadi said in a statement that given the military security and political context, he had agreed to a military transition with full lucidity. And French Foreign Minister said Kabadi's position justified the military taking control. And now on the foreign scene, France's foreign minister told Russia on Thursday that the European Union would hold President Vladimir Putin and Russia's authorities responsible if hunger-striking Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny died, and said the blog would impose new sanctions. The 44-year-old Navalny, who last year survived a nerve-against attack that Russian authorities denied carrying out, is thin and weak after starving himself for 3 weeks in prison, and his allies said he risked kidney failure or cardiac arrest. Labeling Russia's ancient actions at home as authoritarian shift, Ledrine also said Moscow's deployment of thousands of troops on the border with eastern Ukraine needed to be addressed through discussions rather than sanctions for now. And police rounded up more than 1,700 protesters on Wednesday as Russians in dozens of cities took part in rallies organized by allies of hunger-striking Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. His spokesman was jailed for 10 days and another close ally detained on the same day that President Vladimir Putin delivered a State of the Nation speech, warning the West not to cross Russia's red lines and pointedly made no mention of Navalny. OVD Info, a group that monitors protests and detention, said 1,782 people had been arrested, including 804 in St. Petersburg and 119 in the Ural city of Ufa. Still on the foreign scene, Israel had dramatically expanded airstrike on suspected Iranian missiles and weapons production centers in Syria. This was to repel what it sees as a stealthy military encroachment by its regional arch-enemy. Western and regional intelligence sources say, capitalizing on a long-time ally with Syria, Iran is moving parts of its advanced missile and arms industry into pre-existing underground compounds to develop a sophisticated arsenal within range of Israeli population centers, according to Israeli and Western intelligence sources and Syrian defectors. Up next is sports with Jidechi.
From the farm, it good for body. No chemical at all. This na real banga. No more wahala up and the wash. From the farm, it good.
Welcome to the Sports Update. My name is Jidechi Chidi Ezier. The European Super League is on standby, despite 9 of the 12 founding teams withdrawing, says Real Madrid president Florentino Perez. After a furious backlash against the proposed tournament that was announced on Sunday, all 6 Premier League clubs involved withdrew on Tuesday. Spanish club Atletico Madrid and Italian sides AC Milan and Inter Milan have also formally pulled out. Perez reiterated his view that the ESL was created to save football, having also previously said the move had been made because young people were no longer interested in football because of a lot of poor quality games. Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus have not withdrawn, although Juventus president Andrea Agnelli said the project could not now proceed. And on the local scene, Enyimba of Aba goes into today's penultimate CAF Confederation Cup game against host Al Ali Benghazi, knowing that they need at least a draw to enhance their chances of qualifying for the knockout stage of the competition. Enyimba is currently second on Group A table with 6 points from 4 matches, 2 behind leaders Orlando Pirates and 2 above third-placed Al Ali. A win or draw will set up the People's Elephant for the final game of the group against Entete Setif of Algeria, who beat them 3-0 the last time out. And that's all for now on the sports update. Back to you, Margaret.
Thank you, Judechi. And now in business news, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the delay in the review of the agreement signed by the federal government for the privatization and concession of seaports across the country. The House at the plenary on Wednesday mandated the Committee on Port and Harbour and Privatization and Commercialization to interface with parties to the concession agreement with a view into determining reasons for the delay in conclusion of the review and renewal of the agreement for concession of seaport. A member of the House, Shehu Koko, had moved a motion recalled that the Bureau of Public Enterprise and the Nigeria Port Authority had, on behalf of the federal government, anchored the concession of Seaport Terminal between 2005 and 2006 for initial period of 10 years, 15 years and 25 years across the Apapa, Tinkan Island, Port Harcourt, Onne, Calabar, Koko and Warri ports, respectively. The lawmaker noted that some of the concession terminals with initial tenure of either 10 years or 15 years had already expired, while some would expire in May 2021 and needed renewal to avoid losses of hundreds of millions of dollars in revenues accruable to the government. Meanwhile, the Federal Operations Unit FOU Zone A of the Nigerian Customs Services on Wednesday intercepted 42 drums of calcium carbide small good into the country from Benin Republic. Security sources close to the service say that if calcium carbide gets into hands of criminals, it can be used as explosives to bring down a building if a few chemicals are added to it. The acting customs area controller of the unit, Comptroller General Usman Yahaya, said aside from calcium carbide, the unit also seized contraband worth 3.1 billion naira. The CAC, who said the unit acted based on credible intelligence, disclosed that the explosives were smuggled into the country through porous borders under the Ogun State command of the service. The World Bank on Wednesday said businesses in Nigeria lose about $29 billion annually as a result of the country's unreliable electricity. It also observed that Nigeria had the largest number of people without access to electricity in the world, as every 1 in 10 people without access to electricity now reside in Nigeria. The bank's positions were contained in the Power Sector Recovery Program fact sheet, which was presented during the World Bank virtual dialogue with energy reporters on Wednesday. The presentation was done by the bank's practice manager, West and Central Africa Energy, Ashish Khanna. On that note, we call it a wrap on News Now. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news updates. I am Margaret Opara.